Welcome back to the channel. Today we are digging into Soundiron's latest library, courtesy of Craig Peters' 5-string custom Kiesler bass guitar, Bass Machina. It is a grisly, aggressive beast of a library, coming in at just over 6 gigabytes and running on the free Contact player. Let's dive in and check out how it sounds. I told you it was a beastly bass. For owners of Axe Machina, we're going to do a little side-by-side comparison of the interface and talk about a few little changes that they've made on the bass interface. Then we're going to dive into a composition that I created. Okay, so we got a bunch of controls up at the top. The volume goes to 11, which is fun. There is a vibrato. It is a pseudo vibrato, so it is not a recorded vibrato. I think it sounds pretty good considering it's not a recorded vibrato. If you own any of the Hyperion collection, you'll notice this slot system. So if I click on this, we'll see our different articulations. Okay, these can all be assigned to key switches. You can easily change the articulations in the slot system. We got our volume controls for each one. If we click on fretboard, you'll have a visual representation of the bass. Let's check it out. You can adjust the pick direction. Auto hammer is set to on. That is going to be triggered by playing legato. I'll show you the difference. Pitch bend range, you can adjust that if you want. If I click on the hand position, I can actually change where on the neck you want the focus of your performance to be. So you can move all the way up to the 12th fret. Let's check that out. And as I move it down, you're going to hear how the sound changes just like it would on an actual guitar. Really cool. And you also have a visual representation over here, as you can see. String setup is neat as well. If you want the focus to only be on one, you can click and you'll hear how the sound is going to change. So you probably notice at the top that only one string is highlighted. So again, this is dependent on whatever part you are programming in your performance. So you have lots of programmability built into the interface. A couple of different strum modes. You have some more fine-tuning controls in the middle that you can actually adjust the velocity range of whatever articulation, or you can use the key switching, whichever you prefer. On the second panel, you get your effects, which you can stack up as many different things as you would like. And we have some snapshots up here, pretty cool ones. I used a few different ones in the composition, which I will go over. Lots of ability to either use the built-in effects within the library, or they have a very clean DI signal if you want to reamp. If you have some of your favorite bass amp simulators, then you can use those as well. Then we have our sequencer, which has gotten a little nice update since the Axe Machina. Let me turn this on. I'll demonstrate it real quick. Bass players, eat your heart out. So we actually have 8 different sequences that you can create and save, and you can actually assign these to key switches so you don't feel like you have to be locked into only one sequence, which is pretty cool. Here you can control how you want the sequencer to react to the playing. You get some randomized features. Of course, you can adjust each of these if you want. If I take off the lock button, it'll only affect just the given one that I'm selecting, and then you can relock it. Humanize and swing down at the bottom. Some really nice updates from the Axe Machina sequencer. Let's take a look at the similarities and the differences between the bass and the axe. So as you can see, very, very similar kind of slot system. Again, you have your string set up, your additional controls. One thing that's kind of cool if you don't have Axe Machina is this dual mode, which kind of plays around the stereo image. So let me demonstrate that right now. So you can see how you can create a really wide stereo signal. So this is a very, very cool thing. Obviously, it makes a lot more sense for a guitar library, not so much as a bass. So basically, if you have one of these libraries, you can feel really comfortable with the other one. Again, you have your FX page on the second page. Okay, and I can just show you a little bit of the differences between the sequencer. The key difference is the addition of these 8 programmable sequences. Very similar interfaces. Let's check out the composition. I'll show you what I did. So in the brown, those are all bass tracks. In the blue, we have the Axe Machina. In the red, we got some of their Apocalypse percussion. In the mud color, we have some of their temple drums. And then we have a little Requiem Light in the purple to create something epic. So let me play each of these individual bass parts so you can hear. I just literally used some of their snapshots. So I took their punk rock part, I literally copy and paste, and I added the sub bass part. So let me play those one at a time, then you can hear them get together again. Really like the way that these work together because you get that really hard edge aggressive sound from the punk rock snapshot, but then that sub bass just gets a little more of that low end in there, so they layer really, really nicely. So really, really punchy, really, really aggressive sound. Axe Machina, we got the power chord, palm mutes, the sustains, and then our arpeggiated part. Let's check this out. I want to play around the sequencer a little bit, so let's check this out. Let's go back into the Axe, and I'll show you how easy this is to get set up. So let's activate the sequencer. Okay, I love when you have tools that are just simple, straightforward to use, and you can get a really cool sound really quickly. And this is a perfect example of that. Apocalypse drums. Let's see what we got here. We got some ethnic ensembles and then just a couple of snare tracks. Let's check these out together. Very thunderous, very, very big. For the tempo drums, all I did was I went to the effects rack and I loaded up some overdrive. So just to get a little more of aggressive sound, let's check this out. Again, that's all within the interface itself. I didn't add any additional processing other than a little bit of EQ. And then we have some Requiem Light. We get the men's vowel sustains and the women's vowel sustains. Let's check these out together. Can you really have epic music without a choir? I don't think so. Important things to note: Bass Machina plays on the free contact player, whereas Axe Machina, you need the full version. If you're an owner of Axe Machina, getting the bass one is a no-brainer. They're going to go together very, very well. You're going to be very accustomed to the interface. Obviously, this is going to be custom tailored towards people that are producing really heavy music, metal music. But I think once you listen to the composition, you're going to hear that it's also very, very useful in cinematic productions or anything that you want a really aggressive sound that really is going to cut through the mix. And it's a custom 5-string guitar, so it's going to sound different than other bass guitar libraries that you have. At the time this video was made, it's currently on an intro price of $79 US. In the description, you'll find my affiliate link. It won't cost you anything more to purchase the library through that link, but it'll help me and help this channel. That's it for me, my friends. Get out there composing. Catch you in the next one.